this is Rachel,
This is Chris.
and this is our Unit 4 team video talking about the INST standards for Unit 4. This first one says promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility, and this is the standards for teachers. And to me, this really means, understand local and global societal issues and digital culture and exhibit ethical behavior. So when I read this, I immediately thought of the bring your own device, because the bring your own device is something that is enveloped in the societal culture and the digital culture. So many schools use it as, bring your own iPad or bring your own phone to use as a digital tool during learning processes.
I agree. For me, I guess in the 2016 K-12, it was talking about personalized learning. And we kind of touched on that one a couple chapters ago, but for this particular one, for the standards for teachers, I guess it was letter B. It says address the diverse needs of all learners by using learner-centered strategies and digital tools. All right, that was kind of like the focus of personalized learning. It's empowering the students to take charge of their own learning. It's promoting digital citizenship and responsibility. All right, so being responsible for your own learning and choosing what digital tools you want to use. But it's up to the educators to provide the correct tools and to give it whatever they need necessary to progress with this. But the programs are so new that it's such a new, I'm not going to call it a fad because it's going to be here, but it's such a new program that the data of how successful students are isn't all there yet. So we have to fully analyze it to understand the most efficient strategies, because companies are trying to figure out, well, how do we promote this personalized learning? But it's all new. It's just a new deal.
Right. Learning how to navigate the new culture and the new technology is difficult, but it's definitely something that is needed. And it changes so rapidly too. So it's just interesting to see what's going to be, the next 5 years, the next 10 years.
And the good thing about that, it said that in the report that this was a wicked challenge, as in it's going to be way, like you're saying, in the future, 5 to 10 years, it's going to take time to get there. But luckily, there were, some of the big players in the game, like Facebook and Bill Gates and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are donating huge chunks of money and resources into helping this and to develop these platforms. Without their help, it could be 100 years, honestly.
It really could, yeah. So, yeah, it's just changing so quickly. All right, this next INST standard is labeled as digital citizen, and it's the standard for students. And what I really got from this is, that ethically, act safe, act in a legal manner. And I really related it to the makerspaces again, just because the students are allowed to do whatever they please in the makerspaces, and that way they learn these, ethical standards that are there by just messing around with stuff and learning from other students. I think that's very important to the standard.
Yeah, and whatever you're saying, makerspace, the digital citizen being responsible for what they're doing over there, because not all the time, some of those makerspaces aren't fully supervised.
Yeah.
They're over there working on it, but you have to assume and hope and guide them to make smart, ethical decisions while they're over there.
Yeah. And I think they learn from each other too, though. In those makerspaces, they're with other students, so they learn from each other, like what's acceptable and what to do, hopefully, in the correct way. So that's what I thought of.
For mine, and it kind of goes with the makerspace, but it's authentic learning experiences. Makerspace is authentic. So in my report, it's talking about just authentic and outside of the school, like a real world application gives them experiences and expertises in the real world. So in our day and age, school has gotten to a point where it's so prescribed, and the curriculum is you got to do this, and this, And there's very little creativity and there's very little leeway. And so allowing kids or teachers, I mean, the teachers are strapped for what they can and can't do. But the authentic learning experience is allowing them to venture out and make it a real world application. And they're partnering with local universities and local businesses to allow the students to go off campus and go get real world hands-on experience, and using their digital tools. That's the other thing. Technology is so expensive. Like some of the real world applications of tech are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So if the kids are able to go to the university and use it, there's nothing more authentic than that.
Definitely. I agree. All right. So the next two are essentially the same as the last one we talked about, just for different groups. So this one's the standard for coaches. It's the digital citizenship. Again, it's act in an ethical, safe, and legal way within the digital world. And I really, not a specific characteristic or tool came to I thought of this. I thought of everything, really, because coaches need to act in an ethical, safe way in every tool, not just one or two. In every aspect of the digital tools, they need to act ethically and safe. That's my opinion.
Sure, yeah. That would be the goal. That would be the hope. Because whenever you're talking about this, and I hear you talking about the ethical way, in technology, it's so easy. I tell the kids, because I did computer programming, I tell the kids, it's easy to be a bad hacker. It's easy.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a bad person. Anybody in the world can be a bad person. The hard thing to do is to do the right thing all the time. Make the smart, ethical decisions, your integrity, who you are as a person. And so whenever you're saying that, that's all I keep thinking is technology is so easy to do the wrong thing with it. But you have to make that conscious decision,
It definitely is. And the thing we took at the beginning, the plagiarism thing, right. I just think that plagiarism is becoming so much more of a problem now, because people can easily just go on a website and, copy things and put it as their own, thinking that they could get away with it. But also technology is bad for those people, because it can easily detect that is coming from another source. So it's just you're right. Just doing the right thing is the harder way, but it's the better way.
Yeah, it really is. To me, I use the scaling teaching innovations. Luckily, I actually am a technology coach, so I understand basically the intricacies between the different ones, the coach and the administrator. And without having that knowledge, honestly, even whenever I was a technology teacher, without being the instructional tech coach at my school, I really wouldn't understand exactly what this means and how it works. But knowing what I know, for me, scaling teaching innovations, digital citizenship, allows teachers to innovate and teach in new ways instead of the old prescribed, like I was saying a few minutes ago. Using digital tools in a new ways. Now, the problem with this is the curriculum is so rigid that it's hard for teachers to come up with new ways, or they feel like their hands are tied. And really, it's up to the administrators on the campus to allow the teachers to do these things, which I'll talk about in a second. But it's also up to the administrators to allow the coaches to be able to help teachers do these things. There's like a chain. It's like a bureaucracy with schools. Yeah. And it's the same thing with technology. You have to go through the bureaucracy of it all. But if everybody is on board, then it helps coaches, they can foster this innovation with the teachers and help them create lesson plans and to help them with these new ideas of how to incorporate technology in the classroom in an ethical, digital citizenship manner. But honestly, it's not just the coach's decision. There's a lot of people involved there.
You have to go through the different steps to get that done. And yeah, I totally understand. In IO, there's always an administrative chain of just people you have to go through to get stuff done. There's always layers, and sometimes there's 30 layers, that you have to go through.
Really, jumping through hoops. Now, in general, technology, whenever you tell, if I was to say, oh, so and so wants to incorporate new technology in the classroom, well, of course, everybody's going to say, well, yeah, go and do it. But it has to tie back to the curriculum and the exact manner that the state of Texas and the TEKS want them to be teaching this particular matter. So it's not just, oh, use new technology. You have to use it effectively and efficiently. And if the scores, if a standardized test score comes back and your percentage is dropped by 8% because you're learning some new tech, immediately at that point they're going to say no more.
Right.
And it takes time. It's going to have growing pains. You're not going to just incorporate tech in a fantastic manner straight from the start. There's going to be failure. There's going to be problems at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you have to slowly learn from it. And that kind of goes into our next one, the administrators.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and keep going with that, with what I was saying, because it's like a segue straight into it. But on the administrator standpoint, in the Horizon report, rethinking the roles of teachers, this goes right along with it. So it says that there's a new hiring. I'm actually going to be a principal. That's what I want to be one day. So my next goal is AP and principal. So whenever I'm thinking about this and hearing the report, it's saying that instead of hiring somebody who has expert knowledge on the matter, let's say you're hiring, a science teacher. If they're teaching science, the old way of thinking is whoever has the best science knowledge, whoever is the best expert and can get across the information to allow the kids to learn what it is they need from expert level knowledge. And so if this person has great credentials and great on their resume and great schooling and all this, usually that's the one that gets hired, as long as they don't just blow the interview. But now they're saying it's not just being expert knowledge, but more of how are they doing with technology? How good are they with tech? How can they incorporate technology? Are they a good science teacher, but they're also really good with technology? And it's get the mindset of hiring maybe this person instead of the expert, hire the person that's good, who can facilitate the use of technology in the classroom in a better way. And that would be rethinking the role of a teacher. It's using the teachers to guide the students instead of teaching them necessarily like lecture, but to guide them and get them to the resources and digital tools and let the students teach themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's just in IO we do a lot of selection, so I totally understand what you're saying about, rather than them being an expert in their field, having them know also how to use technology as a background resource, because it's really in everything we do now. So you have to know how to use it. You can't just be good at one thing and leave out the rest, because then it's your chain of command is going to suffer that way, because you have someone who's not using the digital tools, and then you have someone who is. So it's just not equal throughout, and the digital tools are really needed in this new society, really.
All right, I think that's good. Thanks for watching, guys.